promoting a healthy environment. It's the air we breathe. Clean, safe water. Responsible management of our natural resources. We protect and restore for a sustainable future. Environment matters.
One of the kids said, "This is the best way to learn." We should always be like this in a classroom. And so I think that they really enjoy the hands-on experiences. I think it kind of sinks in more that way too.
Heading back to school, just not necessarily into the school building. We'll check in on one of several programs designed to teach kids the importance of our most valuable resource, water.
Plus, from the air it looks like spilled green paint, and it's causing health officials to keep a watchful eye. We'll have the latest on the late summer bloom of blue-green algae that's raising concerns along hundreds of miles of the Ohio River. Hello everyone, and welcome to another edition of Environment Matters. I'm Greg Adolphson.
And I'm Kelly Gillenwater. The West Virginia Department of Health and Human Resources Bureau for Public Health has issued a public health advisory as efforts continue to observe and monitor the movement of blue-green algae on the Ohio River and some of its tributaries.
Although many species of algae do not produce toxins and are vitally important to marine and freshwater ecosystems, some species of blue-green algae can cause harmful algal blooms. The DEP's Jake Glantz has more.
Greg, Kelly, blooms of the blue-green algae have been spotted at locations along the Ohio River from the Pike Island Locks and Dam near Wheeling downriver to the Kentucky border and beyond.
Indiana is the latest state to issue a public health advisory warning people to avoid contact with the Ohio River. That follows similar advisories issued earlier in West Virginia, Ohio, and Kentucky, as the algae first spotted near Wheeling in mid-August spread slowly downstream. This particular strain is known as cyanobacteria, or by its more common name, blue-green algae. Cyanobacteria typically forms in late summer or early fall and can form thick mats that float to the surface, looking like streaks of spilled green paint. It produces toxins that can be harmful to the environment, animals, and humans. Algae blooms in a large river like the Ohio are unusual.
Algal blooms are certainly a normal process, especially for lakes, less so for rivers. So the algal bloom on the Ohio River is truly unprecedented.
That's because of the size and scale of this bloom. There have been previous isolated incidents of blue-green algae in the Ohio, most recently in 2008 near Cincinnati, that lasted 10 days. But this one has officials scratching their heads.
We certainly understand what influences the likelihood of an algal bloom, but we don't have a distinct answer as to why 2015 is unique.
Among those influences, water chemistry and weather. Blue-green algae use sunlight to make food, and in warm, slow-moving waters that are high in phosphorus and nitrogen, it can grow quickly, creating blooms that spread across the water. The West Virginia DHHR's Bureau for Public Health advises avoiding contact with water in the Ohio, things like swimming, wading, fishing, paddling, and water skiing. Pets and livestock should also be kept away from the water, as well as people who are prone to respiratory allergies or asthma. Children are particularly sensitive. Exposure to toxins created by cyanobacteria can cause breathing difficulties, skin irritation, and stomach problems. The Bureau, along with the DEP's Division of Water and Waste Management and agencies in Ohio and Kentucky, continue to monitor this situation. Monitoring and sampling is coordinated by ORSANCO, the Ohio River Valley Sanitation Commission, which operates programs to improve water quality in the Ohio River and its tributaries.
Health officials say cooler fall temperatures will help to dissipate the algae, but that may not happen until November. They say what really has to happen is a significant rain event, one that's slow-moving and that covers a large stretch of the river to basically flush the entire system out. For Environment Matters, I'm Jake Glantz.
Thanks, Jake. For links to the latest information on this developing story, please continue to monitor our website, dep.wv.gov. You can also connect with ORSANCO to get information on conditions of the entire length of the Ohio River. Their website is orsanco.org.
Besides the Ohio, the DEP also monitors conditions on other rivers in the state. The DEP's Brianna Hickman caught up with one of the crews that recently was working on a section of the Greenbrier River in Summers County.
Follow me with the clipboard.
It's the last stop of the day. With these samples taken at the public stream access point near Talcott, West Virginia, this survey of the lower Greenbrier is about wrapped up.
Every year, every season, where we do water sampling and also take measurements of algae that we find. We have designated locations along the Greenbrier, and also we do float trips on occasion just to try to cover the extent of the river from Pocahontas, Greenbrier, down to the mouth.
They're looking for signs of algae impairment, typically 20% coverage for a distance of 3 times the width of the stream, or 40% coverage in any location.
It's nutrient related. We think mainly phosphorus, nitrogen. The sewage treatment plants on the river we suspect are the issue, the biggest problem. And they are scheduled to do upgrades in 2016, 2017.
White Sulphur Springs has already made improvements to its treatment plant, with more to come. Ronsford is planning to upgrade its entire plant, and Alderson is planning improvements as well. So far this year, those monitoring the Greenbrier say they're seeing less algae than expected.
It has been dry lately, so I suspect we might have seen a little bit more algae, but there has been some recent rain events that appear to have flushed some of the algae that I've seen in previous weeks. So it seems to be similar to the rest of the season. We're just not seeing the algae like we did last year or previous years. Hopefully with time we'll see improvements on the Greenbrier. It's such a pretty river.
In Summers County, I'm Brianna Hickman for Environment Matters.
The DEP's annual Great Kanawha River Cleanup went off without a hitch earlier this month. Volunteers picked up trash at locations from Winfield to Glen Ferris. This was the 26th year for the cleanup that was first organized in 1990. Every year, volunteers remove tons of trash from the banks of the Kanawha. The DEP's REAP program provides gloves and bags for volunteers and arranges for the trash to be hauled away. Volunteers got a free t-shirt for their efforts.
The West Virginia Rivers Coalition is holding its 6th annual River Film Festival this year in Morgantown. It features works highlighting river adventures and conservation issues by West Virginia and Appalachian filmmakers, including one by Environment Matters executive producer Mike Huff. It's called Currents. Here's a preview.
We think that the Blackwater River in the Blackwater Canyon is the scenic crown jewel of West Virginia. The biggest challenge is acid mine drainage pollution from historic mining in the area. People see the beautiful part of the river, you know, the tourists, the skiers, the mountain bikers, and they don't see the sort of hidden bad water coming from the North Fork. So just to make them aware it's even there is very important, because they don't see a problem. They see, oh, I can kayak the Blackwater and it's perfect. But when you show them there's this sort of back door, there's this other part, they're really kind of horrified and they want to help.
These streams are in the condition they are now because people weren't aware of what they were doing, and I really believe that education and awareness will go a long way, and it can also just help clean all of this up again. Right here in the gorge, actually, we help stock brown trout in the area, and they live throughout the year, and they're reproducing and they're doing really well. A lot of people during the summer come to this area and swim, and then also we have a lot of project sites up in the headwaters, and so there's been a lot of improvement over there too.
The project actually grew out of a series of projects produced for this year's West Virginia Watershed Appreciation Day. The West Virginia Rivers Film Festival is set for October 22nd at 6 p.m. at the Metropolitan Theater in Morgantown. For more information on the film festival and the West Virginia Rivers Coalition, you can check out their website, wvrivers.org.
Coming up, they're common household products, but if they're inadvertently mixed together, say accidentally in the trash, they can become dangerous, even deadly. Just ahead, some how-to advice for handling potentially hazardous household waste.